This is your Daily 5 for Thursday, January 15th, 2026. Today's 5 is probably going to be a very redundant one for anybody who has listened to the show for a while, because this is just going to be yet another brick in the wall of something that I and many others have said for a long time, which is that companies and their CEOs don't actually care about you at all past how much you're willing to spend on them. So there is a fantastic opinion piece over on The Verge titled "Tim Cook and Sundar Pichai Are Cowards." And it is a very long and worth reading, and of course I'll link it in the show notes, worth reading opinion piece about the fact that these two CEOs did absolutely nothing to remove the Grok app from their app stores, even after it had been shown that the app was being used to essentially create non-consensual pornographic, or sexual, I should say. I don't know if they were all pornographic necessarily. Sexual imagery of women, as well as underage children. Now, the first one, the non-consensual undressing of women, that is something that's been around for a long time. It's despicable, but I remember very early on specifically seeing a lot of imagery of Star Trek women that have been very poorly photoshopped. So that's not anything new. So I'm not really so surprised that nothing happened with that. Although you do wonder about it when Tim Cook and Apple often position themselves as being better than other companies, that they wouldn't be a little more aggressive about that. But perhaps it's because nobody within the company that is related to the leadership is involved in this stuff. I imagine if some of the folks that these CEOs and upper leadership and upper management cared about, if they were appearing in these images, my guess is there'd be a little bit more action. So keep that one in mind too. But overall, even though there was non-action in terms of the response from Elon Musk and X as a company to what Grok was doing, and now they have apparently done a very, very pitiful job of sort of, I don't even know if you could say blocking, but they put some barriers in place that have already been circumvented quite easily by different journalists and researchers to try to stop this stuff, although I don't even know if try to stop is the correct term. But they're doing something because they have to show at least the most minimal action, because now investigations are starting up. But again, the particular subject of this article is, why are the CEOs of two of the biggest companies in the world that often talk about how much they care about their users and how much they value their consumers, why did they do nothing when an app that was blatantly violating, at the very least, U.S. law, but law all over the place from again, the amount of investigations starting up? Why did they not bother to remove this app? Now, I don't know whether it's actually ties to Trump and, through Trump to Elon Musk, as the article says. There's probably something to that. But even if you take any political or any other type of influence away, it does make you sit there and think, why would you allow this? Why would you want this on here? And the obvious answer isn't that I don't think they want it on there, but I also don't think that they care that it's on there, because now that there are investigations happening and X is taking some action, there's no material impact on the revenue stream. And that's the thing that they actually do care about. Had there been some kind of real response from most people that resulted in falling sales and some real impact on the dollars coming into these companies, you better believe those apps would have been ripped off with that app, would have been ripped off those stores in about 2.2 seconds. But since there really wasn't, probably because they anticipated correctly that there would be some investigations starting up and X would start to do at least performative things to make it seem like they were trying to address this, they probably assumed correctly, as it seems to be turning out, that they could just wait it out, and that by the time there was any actual real response, there would already be something going on in terms of X clamping down on this, or some type of legal investigation that would give them some cover. But you still have to sit there and think, if this was one of your children, if this was one of your mother, a parent, somebody you cared about dearly, and they were having images generated, do you not think these CEOs would have done something about it? Of course they would. But as it doesn't appear that that's happened, or at least they're not aware of it, since it's just ordinary people who are still buying their products and giving them their information, whatever, they'll figure it out. So again, read this article. It's excellently done. And remember, companies don't care about you. Later.